Hello everyone, welcome to my channel RPG Retro Reviews. I'm Captain Courageous and I review old school modules and games and try to give them a fun and informative analysis. This week I'm setting my Wayback Machine to 1987 and taking a look at the first super module for basic Dungeons & Dragons B1 to 9 in Search of Adventure. Just a quick spoiler warning, I will be going over some minor plot details for this module, but not overly so. Are you ready? Let's begin. Released in 1987 on the heels of success of other modules of this type for the AD&D game T1-4, the Temple of Elemental Evil, Scourge of the Slave Lords, and Queen of the Spiders, In Search of Adventure supposedly presented the basic modules B1 to 9 in a campaign format that strung them all together into a cohesive whole. How successful TSR was is rather debatable, but there is no doubt that the amount of content between its 128 pages is pretty comprehensive. Designed and edited by Jeff Grubb and John Pickens, In Search of Adventure links the various B modules with original story interludes and jumbles the presentation not in the original release order, but in a structure designed to take advantage of the adventures contained therein, as you can see by this adventure flowchart from page 6 of the super module. So essentially, the module begins in the town of Threshold, which is the default starting area for the known world and the kingdom of Karamikos. A comprehensive map of Threshold is provided, and the module presents some background information on the kingdom of Karamikos and the town of Threshold as well. Obviously, having Gazetteer 1, the kingdom of Karamikos, would be handy to have here, but it is not required. The adventures Caldwell's Castle, Elwyn's Sanctuary, and Rahasia are presented as rumors the PCs can investigate. Thus, this is a sandbox format with the players choosing which adventure to pursue. There are a total of 8 interlude sections printed in gray boxes that help the DM connect the various adventures into one overall campaign arc. The interludes are good for getting the characters involved in the politics of Karamikos, especially with the devious plottings of Duke Stefan Karamikos' evil cousin Ludwig von Hendrix, who runs the Black Eagle Barony. As was typical of the time, some of the interludes are a bit heavy-handed, but certainly they can still serve as inspiration for how to lead the players to the next adventure. So let me go ahead and break down the differences and what's missing between the original modules and this compilation. In Search of the Unknown, B1 is present here in map form only, left for the DM to detail as an interlude adventure. B2, Keep on the Borderlands, is missing the eponymous keep and only includes the Caves of Chaos. The Palace of the Silver Princess is included in its entirety, but the introduction is rewritten so that the immortal Thundara transports the PCs to the Valley of Haven. B5, The Horror on the Hill, is now called the Hobgoblin King, with the surface encounters from the module not included. B6, The Veiled Society, is missing the cutout buildings from the original, and the map of Specularum from the Kingdom of Karamikos Gazetteer is used rather than the one from the original module. B7, Rahasia, is included in its entirety. In B8, Journey to the Rock, only the direct route is used. The 2 other possible paths are excluded. And finally, for B9, 4 of the 5 short adventures from Castle Caldwell and beyond are included. These are The Clearing of Caldwell Castle, Dungeons of Terror, The Great Escape, and The Sanctuary of Elwyn the Ardent. The Abduction of Princess Sylvia is excluded. Certainly, if you are looking to collect the complete adventure modules, this is not a great resource. However, if you are looking to run a classic Mystara campaign in the Grand Duchy of Karamikos, then this compilation is a ready-made resource that draws on many different supplements and compiles them all into a single book that allows you to pretty much run a complete campaign. Maps and descriptions of the Grand Duchy of Karamikos, the town of Threshold, the city of Specularum are all included. Of course, if you are using an OSR rule set like Labyrinth Lords, Swords and Wizardry, or Old School Essentials, this is pretty much as is 100% compatible. Obviously, you can also run this with either the Moldvay Cook version of the Dungeons & Dragons basic set or Frank Mentzer's Rules Cyclopedia. Getting an original copy of this module can be a bit expensive, with original copies on eBay going for about $50 to $100. Now, a word of caution, if you see this on eBay for around $40, be wary. It's probably the print-on-demand from DriveThruRPG, which is nearly indistinguishable from the original. However, you can usually tell as the POD is a lot more glossier than the original. So if you see a high-quality glossy book that looks brand new, you can probably bet it's the print-on-demand. Now, you can just go to DriveThruRPG and get the high-quality print-on-demand and PDF for just $18. So obviously, unless you're a collector, this is the best way to go. I have this print-on-demand myself, and it's very good. As you can see here, it looks fantastic. The maps and print is all high quality, and you can definitely use this to run your campaign. And of course, if you've got the PDF, you can print out the various maps and handouts to use as well. Other than a few minor pieces here and there, there is virtually no artwork in this compilation. This is strictly a text affair, but once again, this is a resource book for the DM, so while it's kind of a bummer that it's missing all the classic artwork from the original modules, functionally it doesn't hinder actual use of the module. So let's go ahead and take a look at B1 to 9 in Search of Adventure on my D20 scale of style, presentation, and value. Style-wise, there really isn't a lot here to write home about. It's mostly devoid of any artwork, and the cover art itself is rather bland. The trade dress is mid-80s TSR, and though the original had a map booklet, the print-on-demand's inclusion of putting all the maps in the back isn't a hindrance. It's functional, and of course you can just print the maps yourself from the PDF. Now, I'll rate this a 10. Presentation is dry and straightforward. The interludes are useful, but I feel like any creative DM can modify them to make them better or discard them completely and come up with something on their own. So other than serving as inspiration, their use is limited. The biggest crime the supplement commits is its omissions. While I get that much of Quasiquentin in the B1 module required the DM to fill in the encounters, not including any of the classic encounters from that module and only providing the maps as an interlude is criminal. The omission of other material also devalues it somewhat, but what is included is certainly enough to keep a group busy for potentially a year or more of gameplay. This really is a near-complete Grand Duchy of Karamakos campaign all in one volume. That probably makes it way more valuable here in 2021 than it was in 1987, when collecting the old material was far less expensive. For that reason, I'll be generous here and rate this a 13. Value-wise, this is pretty good, however. There is a lot here for the DM to absorb, and certainly it is useful that it draws from so many other resources. And while it does commit some crime of omission, the sheer volume of what is included justifies its existence. I'll say if you have some of the modules already, like Keep on the Borderlands, for example, and a few of the others, this might be a good way to fill in some gaps and is fun reading. Avoid eBay and grab the print on demand, and it's worth it. I'll rate this a 15. That brings my overall rating for B1 to 9 in Search of Adventure to a 12, above average. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you found this review informative and useful. Coming up later this week, I'm going to finish up my coverage of the U series with U3, The Final Enemy, and then I'm going to review the OSR game that started it all, Osric, the old school reference and index compilation. As usual, I'd like to give a big shout out to all of my wonderful patrons. Your continued support makes these videos possible. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. If you enjoyed this old school module review, please help support the channel by giving it a like, comment, and share. Follow me on Twitter and join the channel's Facebook page, Dungeons & Dragons RPG Reviews. Consider supporting the channel and more content like this by becoming a patron yourself. Or alternatively, you can just leave a tip in my PayPal tip jar. Links for everything is in the description. And as always, my friends, may your D20 roll true and game on.